How's it going, folks? Welcome to another episode of Idiots versus Idiot. I'm an idiot. Danny here is an idiot. We talk about
I have
everything.
an IQ of 160, sir.
Lies, and more lies. Anyway, the point is, that's a great example of how Danny is an idiot. The point of all of this is we come at perspectives of business, being idiots, knowing that we have a lot to learn, and a bunch of you out there probably do, and we're just going to get right into this. What is our first topic today, Danny?
So, unbeknownst to the rest of us on planet Earth, our friends over at Uber, and I'm a huge fan of Travis Kalanick, not so much a fan of Darshwakowi, whatever the guy who replaced
This is why
him.
I love you on this show. I have no idea who these two people are.
Okay,
I did read about this article, but I don't know who these people are. This is what you bring to the table.
Travis Kalanick is sometimes, I don't find him to be controversial, but other people found him to be a controversial co-founder or founder of Uber. He took an exit. By the way, it was a heated exit. He leaves Uber. He's the one, by the way, and this was a dumb thing on his part. You remember that like dot logo with a square in it? That was his idea. Ugh, that was stupid. Uber is this interesting. It's an interesting.
You are such a logo Nazi. You are such a logo.
It's so true, though.
Ahead.
It is. I am.
Go ahead.
I don't pretend. Uber is such an interesting company to me because it is kind of this star child of disruption and gig work.
Sure.
But it will go down in flames when it finally goes down.
Like when I honestly thought it was going to go down in flames this past election cycle because in California they voted whether they would actually make all those people employees.
Yeah,
and
they're
it
not
failed.
Make any,
it failed, right? So they're still considered gig workers.
Well, it didn't the law passed, but they created a carve out for Uber and Lyft because Uber and Lyft threatened to leave the state.
Sure. Austin did it a couple of years ago where you couldn't use Uber in Austin because of very similar types of circumstances. But anyway, so Uber's definitely a disruptor. I was not aware until this week that they had a flying taxi service, a flying car division.
Yeah, and I have so many questions. Okay, the first one is, did everyone hop in an RV and take a tree up to take a ride out to Joshua Tree and do acid? And then was just like, hey, guys, let's start a flying car division. It's already whack to me that, like, all these companies have self-driving car divisions, but now you got a flying car division. What are you doing?
Well, but a flying taxi car. And here's the deal. Here's what I found interesting about the article, is apparently this has been a thing since 2016. Like, Uber decided this back then.
So that was a Travis decision then, because that was Travis when Travis was the CEO, yeah.
And we'll link the article down below, but it's called, the flying taxi is called Elevate, which, great name for a taxi service, right? Whatever.
You don't understand branding at all, do you?
I don't care. The point is that they have had it since 2016, and somebody sees so much value in it that they're selling it to someone else.
What was the sticker on the sale? Do you remember?
$4 billion. No.
You're kidding me.
Aurora Innovation, a $4 billion company,
okay.
$75 million.
Here's the thing. Here's what's hilarious. It's a division of their business we didn't know existed until now.
Correct.
It's a division of their business that we don't even have the we know it doesn't do anything because we've never flown. Like,
we don't have flying cars.
You're not ordering a flying Uber, okay?
Right.
I don't care how high or how drunk you can't get a flying Uber. You might be flying in the Uber, but the Uber's on the ground, okay?
Exactly.
And the fact that somebody saw 75 million, and this is to me, Dar Karshawi or whatever the guy's name is. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm the child of immigrants, and all I can tell you is some of us just got here and was like, yeah, we're going to just pick a name that works. Like, that people know what that means, okay?
Right.
He's Persian, and he was like the turnaround guy at Expedia, right?
Okay.
He's the one who made Expedia what it is.
All right.
And after Travis's kind of flame out over there, which, by the way, perfect exit because he got a stupid dummy amount of money He was super controversial, but the reason he was controversial was he just went into a city. He was like, "Yeah, we don't care. We're just like, we're here now."
Right.
Like, and that was, as someone who is an outspoken and unrepentant anarchist, that is how you properly defy regulation. You just go, "Yeah, we're doing it. Up yours." And if you look, and if you're properly funded, like Uber, you're fine. Like, it just, like, Arcade City was in Austin for a while after that ban, and they were doing the exact same thing. So what? It's banned. We're just going to do it anyway. Right?
Well, look, I'm all for disruption, and there should be more innovation and disruption in a lot of different businesses. But to a certain
I'm all
extent,
for not asking permission because you're a goddamn free American,
right? And
if you want to drive around some drunk people for $8 an hour, that's your problem.
Well, and Elon Musk and his companies have made a art form the last 15 years about just saying things. Just saying, I'm going to do whatever. This, to me, falls in that vein of Uber, for whatever reason, in 2016 says, hey, we're going to have a flying car division that we're not going to tell anybody about. And then we're going to come across an article in 2020 that says not only have they been thinking about this and developed this flying car taxi division since 2016, according to what they've said this year, and I wrote this down because I thought it was crazy. Apparently, their plan has been all along to have this service up and running in Los Angeles and Dallas by 2023.
I have so many questions about your statement. One of them being, you still use a pen and paper, you ancient dinosaur.
100%. Look at this.
Who am I in business with? Oh, my goodness.
And the yellow pad.
Do you go up to your car and crank the front of it to get it started?
I do. Yes,
okay.
I do.
I have so much to tell you about the future of television. It's going to kill radio.
Eat it.
I just think it's awesome that this happened, that this exists, and that I like the fact that somebody's pushing the boundaries. I like the concept that someone's like, air traffic control. We're Uber. We don't do that. We don't care.
But you and I both know that there is no way on God's green earth that this company has flying taxis by 2023 in any county.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're the one who just got done telling me before we started the podcast that you're buying an electric truck and it's probably going to drive itself. So, and 5 years ago, like when people were like, Teslas are going to drive themselves, I'd be like, oh, okay, Teslas are going to drive themselves. Like, I have no... At this point, there's nothing you can tell me about what you think the future is going to bring, especially after a year like 2020, where I'd go, I don't think so.
That's true.
Nothing's off the table.
Like, I agree with you in that. And look, this is why one of the great times to be alive because of that, right? That you and I can sincerely sit here and go, I would not be able to put money on the fact that this doesn't happen. Right, by 2020. Now I can sit here and think, okay, based on my experience, I don't think we'll have flying cars by 2023, more or less taxis. But at the same time, I'm not going to put $100,000 on it because the crazy technology could change between now and then. Somebody could develop something or have already developed something that we don't know about.
And it could be perfect for, as we both know, like going up 35 Dallas from Austin to DFW. Mm-hmm. Going anywhere from Austin, if you're trying to get to any of the other cities, basically other than San Antonio, huge pain in the neck.
Yes.
And as like Los Angeles, similarly to California, you have industry that's split across a huge state. So it's interesting that you said they had thought about two states, which is one city, Los Angeles, one Dallas. It's interesting because if you're talking about a flying taxi and I can hop in it and it's $100, it's so much easier for me to flying taxi to DFW and hop on any, because you can get any flight out of DFW whenever you want, going anywhere, and there's always a first class seat always open for me.
Right.
Trying to fly out of Bergstrom, it's impossible to get anywhere ever. Like, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to connect in like Scottsdale at the small airport in Scottsdale, and then you got to take a bus. Then you got to go to Las Vegas. I mean, it's just always dumb. Like I've never got a direct flight in or out of Austin for anything. But I also fly Southwest a lot because they give me two seats.
Hey, I love Southwest.
So do I. I mean,
That's
like,
right.
you know,
Big people fret. For those of you out there, completely off topic, but if you're a big person, Southwest is your go-to. Okay, I'm
yeah,
just
totally.
saying. All right, it is the go-to. They give you an
Because
extra seat. Yeah. Anyway.
they classify you there. We're defined, and this is here we go with a tangent. If you're a big person, if you say I would like accommodations for a person or passenger of size,
Passenger of size. There's the key word.
hilarious. I'm a
Yes.
passenger of
I am
size.
a passenger of size and stature. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Okay. So let's do
Anyway,
story number 2.
yeah. What do
That
we
was
got?
pretty
What's
good.
number 2?
Oh, are you ready for this though?
What is I'm ready? What is it? I don't know what it is.
Okay. Wayne Gretzky's rookie card. What? Who cares about hockey? I mean, I knew that. Listen, we all know that I'm not a sports person.
Okay, I care about hockey. I care about hockey. All right, not as much as football.
Nobody cares
but I
about
care
hockey.
about hockey.
I don't get why anybody, but I'm just saying the concept that Wayne Gretzky's rookie card, it's sold for $1.29 million.
That is
bucks.
awesome. That is awesome.
It's cuckoo dollars. Okay.
But you're talking about, and look, this is the thing about memorabilia as a whole, right? Like I kind of put memorabilia, whether it's movie memorabilia, sports memorabilia, whatever, kind of in one big category. Two things are always true in memorabilia. One,
It's the nostalgia industry, and we all pay for nostalgia.
well, but here's the deal. One, it is only valuable in markets when people have money, right? When the whole 2009 housing bust happened, nobody was spending $1 million on a card, whether it was Wayne Gretzky or, you know what I mean, baseball cards or whatever. When people have disposable income, those types of memorabilia kind of things go up, right? Longhorns sell more merchandise. Dallas Cowboys sell more merchandise. It's all memorabilia, even if it's brand new, right?
Right.
So,
Totally.
So as people with disposable income, those things, comic books, cards, stuff like that, go up in value. And two, about memorabilia, it has to go to, it's always in the value of that person. Now, Wayne Gretzky, if you know anything about hockey, you know the great one, Wayne Gretzky, right?
Well, I know the name. It's enough that I'm a person who doesn't care about sports. I don't care about hockey. And he transcends that because he's a cultural icon. But I'm just saying, I want to circle back to this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Who 2 years ago or 3 years ago was talking about, well, I think baseball cards and sports cards and those kinds of things are going to make a comeback in a couple of years. So I'm buying heavy on them. And Logan Paul, the now, YouTuber turned boxer,
right,
recently did a special live on his YouTube where he was for charity auctioning off or selling. I don't know the precise organization of it.
Yeah.
But it was for charity doing Pokemon cards. And there's still Pokemon cards out there that are fresh in the pack with the fresh box, blah, 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 blah. And it was controversial enough, not just because it was Logan Paul, but there's anytime there is a subculture surrounding a specific thing. I'm a car guy, so I know this, in a Japanese car, if you upgrade into the wrong kind of engine, right, you LS swap a 350Z,
sure,
we're all going to boo. We're going to you're stupid for having done that. I don't blame you because it's the right thing to do, but we're all going to poo-poo
any
that.
subculture is that way, right? Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering, right?
But the fact that Gary V was so correct.
Well, look, he's
this guy
is
so good at predicting the market. What's that?
He's correct a lot, but I don't think in this one it was an outlandish claim. Look, anybody that knows comic books, cards, whatever, knows that they ebb and flow, right? They just do. Right? They ebb and flow. They go through periods of time where they're worth lots and lots and lots of money, and then they go through periods of times where you can't offload them no matter what. Because again, you have to have a group of people that are willing, in this case, to bid on a Wayne Gretzky card. I'm sure that wasn't the only bid they got. I would be interested to know how many, not only, $1.2 million, how many bids were there to get to $1.2 million. Were there 20 bids because there was 20 different people? Were there only 5 people bidding on it and 2 people really wanted it and it got, like, auctions to me are in its own little bubble a nice psychology experiment for me, because that want and then money, and then did somebody start out wanting it and then got out at 900,000 because that was where they were willing to spend. I was willing to spend 900,000, but I'm not willing to spend 1.2, right?
You know what's interesting is I was listening to a different podcast about cars, and they were talking about how in that industry, let's say there's a Dodge Charger or a Plymouth Cuda, whatever it is,
right?
Something that is rare enough to where there's 7 of these particular colors or whatever, and they'll talk about how there's only 1 of 7. And a guy will take it to auction block and say, well, the last time this specific 1 of 7 model, this is number 3. The last time number 4 got sold, it sold for $3 million or whatever it was. Those are pretty close to accurate numbers. Well, that guy owns all 7 of them.
Right.
And he is running them through the auction, and his buddy's bidding it up, and they're doing this thing where they're just inflating the crap out of the price, and they're just, they're paying, $100,000 in fees to the auction, and they're just running it to bid up the price. And one guy's is cornering the entire market on it. That's another part of it that I think is fascinating and super interesting. Like, and I know more about this from the car angle because that's my thing. But it's fascinating to me that, listen, it's a piece of cardboard.
Well, and look, this is also why knowledge.
Big man, it is a piece of cardboard.
Well, and it's a tiny, tiny piece of cardboard, to be honest. This is I've always
Have you ever bought those like Hanes pack of undershirts, and there's that dumb piece of cardboard in there?
Yeah.
You're getting 15 times the volume of cardboard for free.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Look, this is another Gary Vaynerchuk thing, and that I think he is brilliant in that. I don't look, and again, I don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, but I know I read a lot of his stuff.
I have his cell phone number. I actually do.
I'm sure you do. The point is I don't always think, is this guy, does he see these things like a crystal ball, or is he just a guy that spends a lot of time educating himself and he's making educated guesses? Here's why.
Actually, let me add this before you keep going. What I think might be interesting too, at least in my brain, is this Wayne Gretzky card, is Logan Paul's Pokemon cards, are these, because Gary V is a cultural stalwart. He is a part of entrepreneurial culture. So is he creating, in a way, not that that's his intention, but I'm saying, by Gary Vaynerchuk saying cards are going up, are cards going up? And Gary Vaynerchuk is saying, wow, I think cards are going to go up.
100%.
Or are cards just kind of out there changing hands, and he's going, cards are going up.
No.
And so cards start going up because Gary V said buy cards, and we, people love nostalgia. So I'm starting to amass a collection of Power Rangers comic books, which is a weird subgenre of comic books because they didn't have a comic book to start with. They're like, it wasn't a
comic book thing. It was a show thing, right? It was
a show thing. But I love the comic book. I love the concept of collecting comic books, but I'm not going to start collecting Spider-Mans and stuff because I don't know that stuff. That's not what I know. I know Power Rangers.
I have a bunch of X-Men comic books from when I was a kid and stuff like that. Like, so I have some.
Are they in black and white? Are they pounded in on stone?
Yeah, stone tablets. Eat it. Anyway, what I was saying is, so Gary Vaynerchuk peddles, or not peddle, I shouldn't say that. I respect him a lot. He teaches knowledge, right? One of his things is, if you want some money, go out to garage sales, find stuff that you can sell on Amazon or whatever. What he's actually peddling is educate yourself on something, right? Go find and buy things from people that didn't educate themselves, because this story could just as easily be 9-year-old finds Wayne Gretzky rookie card at garage sale and pays $1 and sells it for $1.2 million. That could easily be this story, because if you don't know anything about hockey or who Wayne Gretzky is, this card was just sitting in a box, right? Or whatever. Yeah. And we've all heard a story like that.
So I'm in addition to being a car guy, I'm a watch guy. we call that the horology community, or I'm a horophile. And we love those. And, I'm in a group thread with a bunch of my watch friends, and we always send those, like, there's a clip where some guy goes on Antiques Roadshow and goes, yeah, I was moving a couch and from my grandfather's house, and I found this, vintage Rolex Daytona. And, if you don't know watches, Rolex Daytonas, doesn't matter how you get them, they hold value like crazy. If you can get on the waiting list, which is 10 to 15 years long at any Rolex AD, yeah, and you have to probably spend $100,000 to $200,000 there before they even care. And they might get one or two per year to sell.
Sure.
You can buy it for 15 or 8,000, $15,000, I think is what a Daytona goes for, basically, and you can flip it today in $30,000.
See,
you can double your money today.
This drives me nuts. And again, my perspective, right? Which is value is a perspective, right?
Value is subjective, and
Yes.
there is no objective definition of value, because I would probably just go buy the half gold, half stainless steel. It's called the two-tone, because that's the fastest way to get into a Daytona. You can't get a stainless one.
Well, but
and
that's
the
my
thing.
point, is you're talking about a watch. At the end of the day, you're talking about a watch that keeps time, right? That's it. So, but again, they are able to charge that because they're allowed to charge that, right? And
Dude,
that's why I'm a capitalist. But
this watch right here is an automatic chronograph, right?
okay.
This thing has literally an engine inside of it.
But no, I'm not downplaying the technicality or technical aspects of a watch.
But you kind of are.
Watchmaking is a craft, right?
Yeah,
No.
totally.
So I'm not downplaying it all. My point, though, is it still is a watch. I can get it from a $5 Casio, what time of day it is,
Yes.
or
Yep.
$1 million, watch. My
Richard
point at the
Mille.
end of the day is I don't see, me personally, the value in spending $1 million on a watch or $500 on a watch. It doesn't matter to me, even though I own some of those watches that are more expensive. They've always been gifts. But that's me. I can see other people like you going, hey, no, I've got 3 of these, and here's what it is and why it is.
Well, I mean,
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I know you don't see it, and I didn't either. And when I first got into the hobby, and this is like any hobby, right?
Right. Wayne Gretzky, $1.2 million. I'm not paying $1.2 million for, like you said, a 2-inch piece of cardboard with somebody's picture on it.
I'm not paying $10. Okay,
Well, exactly.
I'm not paying $100. So I guess if I was like, I think I can sell this, the only reason would be, I think I can flip it for money, right?
Right.
But
I'm going to keep an eye open for Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. Other than that, it has no.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Look, this is what goes back, because again, the Gary Vaynerchuk thing, and I truly believe in this is and this is why we're talking about this story on this podcast, is I think there is money to be made in a lot of different aspects if you take the time to learn what you're doing, know the difference between what someone else sees value in buying and what's garbage, right? Even though that can transition, right? What's garbage, right?
Hey,
can
man.
transition.
I have purchased watches from Savers and and Goodwill.
Sure.
And I have turned them around, and just with a little bit of work, turn them around for profits. And it's wild to me that, because I read a story about somebody who found a watch that was worth $20,000 or something in a store, and bought it for $10. So
Yeah.
I started going to every Goodwill type place that I could find.
Dude, Antiques Roadshow is an entire show built around what is this crap worth, right? And then finding those little bitty, okay, this has been in the family for 3 generations, or, you know what I mean? Somebody brought this back. Even, what's the Pawn Stars or whatever it is, the pawn shop show? It's very similar, the same thing. What is this worth, right? And that kind of stuff. It's very similar to think that this thing that I've found or whatever, just happens to be a World War II, you know what I mean? A thing that's worth $1 million. So I think it's that combination of lottery, right?
Yeah.
that lottery versus knowing what you're doing. And I think you can do this on a small scale. And again, this is what Gary Vaynerchuk, you know what I mean, teaches. You can do this on a small scale, buy something for 10, sell 20 of them for $20, right? And 10 times 10, right? And then on go and keep it moving, right? He's the kind of guy that, everybody can find. Nobody has to be without money, because there's a way to make money with very little effort if you just put some effort in.
Exactly. And that is, I think, nostalgia is a fan. And if that's one thing, I think, in this evolving market, if you want to speculate on one thing, speculate on something that brings that stirs up your nostalgic feelings.
Sure, and that rich people want. Because
Yeah,
in
because
that case, this person had to get this card in front of not only people that felt nostalgic and liked hockey, but people with big pocketbooks.
Because if you talk to someone 30 years ago, when I was a kid, and you were like, or when you were a kid 100 years ago,
Sure.
and you said these stone tablets with Wolverine on them might be worth some money someday, that's wild. No one would tell, no one, and so you never know, like if you're looking to speculate in an industry, the concept that there's a kid out there named Logan Paul speculating on Pokemon cards, wild, wild to
I
me
thought you were
anyway.
about to say some Logan Paul card, and I was about to just, if there's a part in the future where there's a Logan Paul card that is worth anything, I don't know if I want to live in that world. That is,
well, he's him or his brother. One of them will end up being your president at some point in time, I'm sure.
Awful to think about. What can we move on from this conversation now? I've now disgusted. What's number 3 today?
Number 3 is the techxodus. Huge tech companies are leaving New York and California, and they're going to Florida.
Yeah.
Now, there's one interesting thing about tech in California, that they have this weird rule about non-compete clauses, right, and how they're enforced. So California has a law, and I'm probably screwing it up because this is a show called Idiots versus Idiots. And if you're expecting expertise in your news, you're an idiot.
I actually read up on this, so go ahead.
So, but they have this basically these unenforceable non-compete clauses, because in order to enforce the non-compete, to force an employee out of going to a competitor, you have to pay them a salary for the length of their non-compete clause. So let's say you have a 1-year non-compete, and these clauses are mostly for their upper level management and executives. It's not for programmers. It's like, yeah, you can go program wherever you want. And you did see this with some programmers illegally taking Tesla, information, proprietary data to Google, or vice versa. I don't remember, because it doesn't matter. When a bunch of well-paid multi-billionaires are arguing about intellectual property, I tune out. I just don't care. But I just think it's interesting that these companies are all leaving, and they're coming to, and there's a lot of, there could be potential downside, because why are they leaving New York and California? And are their workers going to bring the same problems that they're leaving, that they're fleeing in New York and California? That's one conversation everybody's having, which is Texas and Florida could flip blue because of this techxodus. You're seeing Goldman Sachs is bringing, I think it's their entire, I think it's called Edward or something else, that they recently had, maybe in the last 10 years, had acquired a management company. Well, money managers.
You have a couple of different questions here, right? You have a couple of different questions here. One of them is this non-compete thing, and here's the deal, all right? And again, idiots versus idiots. I'm not a lawyer, but you should understand, and this goes back to exactly our Gary Vaynerchuk question we were just having about Wayne Gretzky's card, is you should educate yourself in businesses that you're in. What you're essentially saying, and which is true, is people in California, the state of California basically has null and voided all non-competes from a state standpoint. So,
and I do know that at some point in time, prior to even Google having been in Android in the phone business, Eric Schmidt was on Apple's board, and they had just a handshake agreement that they wouldn't cross-recruit or cross-hire.
Sure.
And that was in place for Microsoft as well. So at some point in time, they were enforcing the non-compete privately, which also was like that. They ended up in a lawsuit for that. I do
And that
recall.
look that well, and that because that's a different situation. But California has always been a very worker friendly state, right? Each state to state has their own rules and guidelines. I mean, California, you're talking about a place that certain types of businesses have to supply nap rooms to their employees, right? I mean, it's a very worker friendly state, which is where you get these kind of laws. That's a worker friendly law. Here's the problem though. Most Californians probably don't know that the law exists. The company does, and they're putting these non-competes in front of these people, having them sign them. No, the company knowing that they're not enforceable, but the potential employee does not. Right? They are not educated about the California, especially they come from somewhere else, right? They move from Texas to California, they go in, they get hit with a non-compete, they think it's binding. So what that company is counting on is that person's ignorance. It happens in business all the time. And that whole salary thing, again, non-binding, right? It's another shade, another curtain that they put in there to say, hey, we're going to pay you during this non-compete. Again, hopefully you're ignorant. You don't know that you can't break this. And B, it just makes us look right, if you do argue about it, that, well, we paid you, so technically you're still an employee, right? Or whatever it is. So it's a loophole they're trying to create themselves. And this happens in business a lot, right? That we prey on people's ignorance about a situation. Now, as far as everybody coming to Texas, the opposite of California, is a very business-friendly state when it comes to laws. We are a free-to-work state. Any employer in the state of Texas can fire you for any reason.
You're always so idiotic. It's called the right to work, not free to work
state, whatever. Point is I can fire you as a Texas employer. I can fire you for any reason, for any time, for anything, period. Yep. You have zero ramifications, okay? Yep. It is just a right. So, and a lot of our
you're
laws...
talking about at will. Right to work has something to do with unions, and you can't force people to unionize, but it's also an at will.
It's an at will state. Business-friendly state. The laws are written with the business more in mind than the employee in the state of Texas. These tech
companies, seeing, like, what is California has become a place where it's nearly impossible to hire people, and
to fire them.
And so Uber and Lyft and the tech and the gig work industry created this loophole, and it's very smart because they're like, listen, technology can replace a bunch of this stuff, and so what happens? So the argument that you always hear is, well, we need a regulation. Guess what? There is some doofus sitting somewhere on a couch smoking a bunch of ganja who's going to be like, there's a regulation. We'll figure out how to get around it. Because the ganja is illegal and he's smoking it anyway. In most states, it's illegal. So he's smoking it anyway. So someone will figure out how to end run around the regulation.
Absolutely.
And so what happens in the long term, is because California was this booming economy, and what happened in the long term was that they just kept tying a noose around the neck of the workers, saying this is going to hold you up. But at some point in time, that noose stops holding up your neck and it starts to choke you.
Right.
And that's what, like guys like Joe Rogan and stuff are saying. Like, he was like, I had been trying to move my family here for a while because I just saw this stuff coming down the pike. But my wife and kids, they really like it. But all it took was we can't walk into a restaurant in Los Angeles, but we can in Austin. And now that's all it takes. But if people who are, and this is, we're a business show, but there's a political question.
Sure.
What happens when the workers of these companies come to Texas? And this was a question that had been posed by somebody when Toyota, this is a couple years ago, closed their entire ecosystem and collapsed the whole thing into Texas, across Texas. They had been building Toyota trucks in Texas, and they had built some of them in Indiana, but they are moving their entire infrastructure out of California, which is where they were since they had been in the U.S. So 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And they moved the whole thing to Plano, Texas. Right. Good for the residents of Plano, Texas, right? I know people who had just a piece of land out in Plano it went from being, they had bought it really cheap. They're from Ohio. They knew it, 30 years later, we're going to try to move to Texas or something. that thing just kept going up in price, and then the $150,000 piece of land they bought's $2 million.
Well, look, that wave that you're talking about, first of all, and we talked about this, I think, in a previous podcast, this is not a new thing. This is not a 2020. It's been happening in Central Texas for years now.
Yes.
Everybody talks about Austin and, kind of being this new tech, right?
By
Silicon
2017,
Valley.
I think it was 2017, they said Dallas, Texas had more tech workers per capita than San Francisco.
Well, they have one of the best schools for it. University of Texas, Dallas has been a technology-based college since the 90s. I looked at going there back when I graduated high school in the early 90s to go there because they were right across the street. The University of Texas at Dallas is built right across the street from a bunch of those tech companies. And it's
they're in Richardson, right? They're not in Dallas proper, they're Richardson.
It makes sense from a business standpoint, and you're talking about politics. People like it here. You're talking about the city of Austin, and when we say Austin, we're really talking about Austin and all the surrounding cities. The city of Austin, like the last statistic I saw was something like almost half of people that live here are not from Austin, Texas. They're not even from Texas.
It's a transient city.
Right. So you're talking about, and not just because of the college, but because of business now as well.
Yeah.
And you're right, that does have political things. What does that cause as far as the wave? How does it change the political landscape? How does it change the business landscape? Real estate, right? How does that change?
I mean, the political question is, for me, and I think that is the question for a lot of people, is if you come here with your dumb pee-pee poo-poo ideas that turned California into a place where you could not live, which is interesting because the state of Texas legislature, I think it was last year, made it even harder to institute income tax. They created several layers they created several barriers to create income tax, and they created several barriers to make guns illegal, foreseeing this flood of, because if you lived in a place that was beautiful, it's visually pleasing, good weather, and you turn it into a place that's uninhabitable.
Okay. This is where one of those situations, folks, where Danny and I are going to disagree, and I'm going to try to squelch my screaming. Look, I came from Texas clay. I was born in Texas, raised in Texas, and my parents are in this Texas earth, and I will one day be, okay? Now, Texas runs through these. I got a Texas flag above my head, okay, and a Texas tattoo on my arm. I bleed Texas through and through.
So do I.
What you're talking about will never happen. You can bring as many people here as you want from anywhere else in the world, and those same people, and you are a great example of this because you came to Texas, and it wasn't very long before you were Texas. You are a Texan now.
Yeah.
You're not from Minnesota.
Yeah.
People coming here from California once they're here for a while, they're not from California. They are Texans. Okay.
Yeah.
So this,
and as you can see here in my studio, I have my cowboy hats hung up. They're not for show. Like, this isn't studio dressing. I just moved my studio to the room where I keep all of my attire.
Yes. These people come in, and this is truly what I believe. And now maybe it's naivety because I am a Texan and that kind of stuff. But I believe that the Texas culture is so unbelievably strong that we sway those people when they come here. Now, are they going to bring some values and stuff with them? Yes. But I think it will just make it a more rich culture. I have zero fear of losing what Texas is because of the amount of people and companies that are coming here from other places.
Yeah. And I would just add to, in contrast to what you're saying, like they had at one point in time, California had elected this guy named Ronald Reagan. Okay. Right. Ronald Reagan.
Right.
And it went from Ronald Reagan to here's an app where you can figure out how much poop there is per square mile in San Francisco. So
dirty city. I was there a year ago in San Francisco, in downtown San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it is a gorgeous, gorgeous city with a lot of homeless people, and it is very dirty.
Yeah, and that is a rising problem we're seeing in Texas. And all we need is that cult from that Netflix documentary that came out last year, Wild Wild Country. And they were busing homeless people in from other states to Oregon to help flip a county because they're like, okay, and we'll just give them all a place to live on our ashram. And have you seen
I
Wild Wild
don't
Country?
know what that is, and God knows where Danny got this kind of stuff. People, please take anything that Danny says, verify things for yourselves. This is idiots versus idiots, because what Danny is now spouting sounds like something from a conspiracy theory site, not in actual reality. So I don't. God only knows.
Stop. Listen. There is a documentary, a docu-series, and it came out last year, I think, and it was insane. It's called Wild Wild Country, and it's about this Indian guru, and I'm Indian, so I was interested, and he moved. I'm not really, I'm not Indian at all, but he went from the town or city he was in India, basically said, you got to get out, and they went and bought this huge ranch in Oregon outside of Portland.
Okay.
And they poisoned the local salad bars with listeria because they were trying to flip the county so they could control the county.
Again, this sounds like some conspiracy theory.
But it happened.
Okay, in your head, I have no doubt. Okay.
So this is, anyways, they're putting poison in the water and it turns the frogs different. So
yeah, exactly. See, this sounds right up that alley.
Listen, I can't even say the G word.
Right up that alley, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Right next to it, man. Right next to it.
All right. So, did you check out the last story? Now, class, I have to tell you people something about doing a show with Big Man. I love Big Man. But if there's one pet peeve I have is people who email me about the same subject, starting another email chain, an email thread about it.
He says folks, it is dozens. He has dozens of pet peeves. Dozens.
Yeah, that's one of my dozens.
Go ahead.
So I have fired high-paying clients over doing this because I'm like, hey, include all of your attachments for whatever right here. And then they come in like, here's 4 in one email, 6 in another. And now I'm scattered and all these emails I got to search. And I just said, I'm sorry, we're not going to. So I put everything into a Google Doc so we can look at it, share stuff. He's like, well, can you just tell me what the stories are?
You know what? Eat it, first of all. And second of all, okay, it doesn't matter, all right? I get the whole benefit of Google Docs and whatever, but
we have to stay on
dang topics, all right? But
all
look,
right. We have to stay on task here.
Get off. What do you want?
Okay. Have you seen the 4th story?
4th story. We're on number 4 already? Wow.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. A Japanese company called Aoki. I think it's called Aoki.
He's not pronouncing that right, I'm sure, but go ahead.
Well, I don't think you're going to do any better.
Oh, that's why I'm not saying it.
You know. The only reason I know it's pronounced Aoki, or it could be pronounced Aoki, is because Steve Aoki, the DJ, whose father was the founder of Benihana, by the way. Interesting.
Okay.
Wild World. They have
a Japanese company
has created a pajama suit for Zoom meetings, like we're doing right now. It is a suit made out of pajama material. It is the most 2020. Like,
I'm sorry, folks. I am all about innovation,
comfort,
opportunity, comfort. All of these things.
You're the person who taught me, like, when I first moved to Austin, like, this other kid had shown up to one of our networking meetings wearing a suit, and he's like, you must be from Dallas. Like, because nobody dresses like that here.
Right.
And, my wardrobe went from, like, colorful, brightly colored polos to, like, I just wear golf polos and cowboy boots every single day of the week.
Absolutely.
Because that, fits, not only does it fit with Austin culture, it fits me as a personality, but, like, now I have all of these polos, and I got nowhere to go.
But you apparently can buy a pajama. Look, again, out of 2020, it's not surprising that somebody thought, you know what? We need to make people more comfortable as they're sitting around on their Zoom meetings and cameras and stuff. Like, And look, we already have a culture. I don't know what it is about this whole, everybody's talking about how this has actually started a trend. My wife and I were talking about this the other day, that I saw a television commercial the other day, and it was the guy had like a sports jacket on, right? And a polo underneath or something. And then he was in shorts and like designer shorts or whatever. And this was his look. It wasn't that he was on a Zoom call. I think that was part of the commercial, but it was like, this was his look, the style of a suit jacket, a sports jacket, a shirt, and then, shorts. So I think you're going to see this trend of Zoom call where I'm wearing a suit and tie up front on top, but I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops on the bottom, right? It's all over TikTok right now. These people
it's the mullet of outfits.
It is. That is a perfect analogy, Danny. Congratulations. It is the mullet of outfits. Party on the bottom, right? Business on the top. That is, wow. You should buy that now. This is the mullet of outfits, and then promote the hell out of it. The point is,
what?
What's that?
What would I buy?
Just sell that. Sell that outfit. Okay. Sell shorts. Sell, tops. We'll put it on there where they can design their own, like the old school flip things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, the point is, seeing this, there's entire TikTok trends right now where they go I saw this the other day where different TikTokers.
You are 100 years old.
Shut your face.
You should not have TikTok.
Shut your face. I find it entertaining, all right? The point is where, they're sitting there and they've got like their dog in their lap and they're eating like candy and crap like that. And they're like, and then it says at the bottom something like, everybody starts turning on their cameras for the meeting. And it's people just going, oh, crap. And then they put on like a shirt and put their ponytails up or whatever. Yeah. And then, and they get up and they're wearing pajama pants or whatever. And they're trying to put a shirt on and,
My favorite thing that you've ever done on this podcast is mimic somebody putting up their ponytail or putting their hair up in a ponytail, knowing dang well you haven't had enough hair to put your hair up in a ponytail.
Ever.
Since the Carter administration.
Ever. The point is the same. I enjoy it. So, look, Pajama Suit, right? Which is the question. I guarantee you, first of all, it doesn't come in big man sizes. I would guarantee you that.
It was not a question. It was a statement that this thing exists, first of all. And you're correct. This is not a big man certified look. Okay? But it's all stretchy material, so I feel like we're not that far off, right? I feel like the majority of what I purchase is already like, listen, man, you're too fat. This is the best we can do. This is sweatpants material for everything.
Is there a zipper? Is there a zipper on it?
Because that ain't going to work. I don't think so.
Is it a onesie? Oh. Is it a Benz's onesie? Because if it's a footy pajamas where the feet look like shoes and then the zip up's the side so you can't completely see it, that would be the bomb right there. Like a business onesie.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I could get into a business onesie.
I see that. You're talking about a large big business onesie, which would be everybody else's like a complete car cover. But yes, you know what I mean? Like a business onesie, I could be totally down for.
I could, because and then I'm not hiking my pants up all the time. Okay.
No, then nothing. You put it on.
Did we just start a new business?
We did. We should. The big man business onesie, right? That is. Tell me people wouldn't embrace that all over. Okay.
Are you telling me that in short order here we're gonna have to start putting these on Amazon Prime? Coming to Amazon Prime soon. Big man certified. Big man gear certified. Idiots versus with idiots
versus idiots business onesie. That would be funny. I would sport one of those. Is all I'm saying. All right. Especially
but you would do a lot of things.
Is there a short sleeve version as well?
People, I've known Big Man for several years. I have never, on one occasion, when it was raining in Austin, have I seen him wearing pants. Otherwise, he is wearing shorts. God awful New Balance sneakers, the worst. And it's not New Balance is kind of cool, right? Now they are. They have that deal with what's that one guy? I forget.
It's a total dad look, right? It's a total dad look. It's total dad.
But it's not even a good dad. It's not even fun dad look. This is third divorce, and you're on your first marriage. This is third divorce. I'm paying child support on a kid that ain't mine. Look,
he's not wrong.
That's it.
He's not. You are not wrong. My entire plethora of clothes consists of polos, Like Danny
Yeah.
just said, got him into the polos. You know,
Yeah.
logoed polos.
Polios. Yeah.
My branded T-shirts.
Yeah.
And a pair of shorts, play dry of some sort, whether it's Nike, right, Adidas, or whatever, and a comfy pair of shoes. That is it, folks. That is as difficult as it gets.
It's really.
If I've got to go to a wedding or something like that I need to dress up, it is boots and blue jeans. I do own a couple of those, but that's it. That's for special occasions.
Yeah, I saw you wearing the jeans one time where we went to that. Who am I forgetting the basketball player's name now? LeBaron James. LeBaron James. Yeah, LeBaron James. He owns he's a majority shareholder in some pizza place, and we went there in Austin.
Yes.
And and I saw you wearing pants, and I was just like, did somebody die? I don't know what the occasion would have to be for you to wear pants. But.
Funerals and weddings, man. Funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't, yeah. But you know what? This kind of goes into the whole statement about a pajama, a comfortable, look, your clothes should be comfortable. They should. Now, this may be a big guy thing. I know my wife wears clothes that aren't necessarily comfortable for her, but she enjoys to wear. I don't understand that train of thought. I don't subscribe to that train of thought. The clothes that you wear should be comfortable, and they should fit your personality, which is why the whole big man gear thing, right? Well, whole self-plug here, but the big man gear thing, that's what it's all about. It is about comfortable, large men's clothing, because it should be comfortable. And I feel like as a big guy, most of my clothes are custom because of that, right? Like I feel like there's not anytime, like, I'll give you a great example. My kids all play football for the Henry Hawks, go Hawks. And there wasn't any place I could go to get Hawk gear for my children. So I had to go and find matching color shirt, and had a Hawk shirt made, right? And had a Hawk hat made, and stuff like that, because I find that most places don't offer larger sizes, especially comfortable large sizes for their things.
We're going to land this train wreck of a plane ride here pretty quick here. But one thing I will say, and a credit to Big Man, which has completely changed how I buy clothes, is I am a graphic designer, and so I found locally a company that will direct to garment print whatever design I come up with for $13.
Nice.
And so I just buy Amazon Basics, whatever in my size, Amazon Basics, designed by DXL. And I will have them print my logos and my stuff. And it is so satisfying, because it really feels like a garment that I made, even though I literally just drove it from my doorstep to the lady's place. But that is one thing. But I think it's hilarious that it's such a 2020 thing. And I think that 2020 is going to be such a pivotal year in how people do business. And one of the signs of that is some company in Japan is making a pajama suit.
Could this company exist a year ago? With any, other than it being a
company existed
novelty
a
in
year.
Sky Mall, right? No, I'm talking about this product, right? Other than being a novelty in Sky Mall, right? Like, or some weird kind of magazine. Would this be a new product a year ago? I don't think it would.
I think to be fair though, they have the women, the women's out there, have jeggings, which are they put a denim jean print on leggings, right?
I don't know where that trend came from, right? Several years ago, and now it was leggings, and now they have jeggings, and leggings that look like blue jeans, and leggings that look like this and that, and that. Good for them, right? Something that caught on, that they are still today making money from.
But there was an American company who made it was like a sweatshirt hoodie fabric, and they cut a suit out of it. So this isn't outrageous, right?
No,
That existed a couple years ago. So I'm not, and like the sneaker trend, which like the trend of people just wearing sneakers with everything,
Right.
right? Which I remember the hipsters that I knew 10 years ago were like, I'm such a hipster and I'm different and unique. I wore a gray suit to my wedding with black Chuck Taylors. I'm so unique and different. Except every dingus did it that year, right?
Okay, I don't care what kind of outsider you are. You belong to a group. Okay,
Of
there's no
course.
one out there walking alone. You are not the first person that wore a t-shirt as a shirt every day, right? A plain
Yeah.
white t-shirt that wore a shirt every day. You're not the first one that you know what I mean, created that outfit.
And that's like, if there's one thing we can add a value to your day here is like, you don't care. Like, okay, so you're copying someone. Like, I know this, like, from recently, an extended family member named their kid something that is like my mom's nickname, right?
Uh-huh.
And then she was like, there's a, like my sister and I were like, wouldn't it be funny? Like, because she refused to acknowledge that this was our family. Like, this is my mom's nickname, but we don't care, right? And I'm sure you've seen those, like, if you go on Reddit and like there's the "Am I the asshole?" thread, which is hilarious
Yes.
on Reddit.
Love it.
There's one where it's like, where did you get this name for your kid? And the girl's like, well, it's my mother's name. And then the lady replies to her, well, no, I've never seen anyone use this name until we named our dog that. And it's really weird that you're using this name. And she goes, this is literally my mother's name.
I saw this. Was that the
Yeah.
one where she was like, "You can't? How dare you name your kid that or
Yes,
my
yeah,
dog
yeah,
that because of that? Can you rename your dog or something like that?"
Yeah,
Or-
well, yeah,
like-
it was so like I have some of my friends who like he had a kid, he just had a kid, he had a baby girl, and his sister named her son. She was having a son at nearly the same time after his wife's dad because she just liked the name James. And they're
Okay.
pissed because they're like, we now can't name our kid that. I was like, you know what? My sister and I will probably end up naming our kids the exact same set of names because there are family names. Both of our grandparents on both sides are both named Daniel and Sarah on my mom's side and my dad's side. So it was natural that these are the names we ended up with. And we will end up naming our kids the exact same things. We don't care. So if you're trying to be unique, what you're aiming at the wrong target. The target you should aim at is be authentic. What is the most authentic thing to you? And for Big Man, he is a successful entrepreneur in a growing market, in a generally growing marketplace in Austin. And he wears, like he has described, and he has agreed, and as I've described, third divorce dad. It's not even dad. It's third divorce dad, right? And like the first marriage is usually on target. That by the time you're on to number 3, it's kind of like slim pickings, right?
But it's so good at branding that if you are not the first person that sees me in jeans and asks me that question, I can count. Well, I can't even count. It is that many. If I wear anything but my branded
clothing.
Polo shorts, right, and my tennis shoes, if I wear anything else, I get these strangest looks from people that know me or other business people that I have
what's
to do
going
with.
on?
Because they automatically get, and I get that a billion times. Who are you, right? And what did you do with it is
what did you do with Big Man? So like I have the same thing because after I moved to Texas and I realized it's hot there sometimes.
Yeah. All
Okay,
the time.
and
But yes,
I'm already a furnace, so I switched to just wearing, and it's fine. I wear all black or gray,
right.
and I realized that I have all these brightly colored because I was like a peacock. Okay, I had all these bright colors, and I still have some of those remnants in my wardrobe. And occasionally, I'll pull one of them out for something, special occasion. I'll wear a red shirt, and people are like, "You okay? Where's the red shirt coming from? Why are you wearing a red shirt?"
Why are you wearing a red shirt? It's bothering me. Why are you wearing? But that's the point. Like, and we'll get into a conversation, I'm sure, one day about branding and how it ties into your
And
personality.
how you suck at it, but for whatever reason, this is a great lesson in branding.
Hey, shut it.
Big Man is terrible. Everything he picks from branding is the worst. It makes me physically ill. But here's what is a key point to branding.
It works.
That's the thing. Execution is more important than branding.
And buy-in. Buy in
Yeah.
and actually, even if Danny thinks it's garbage, which Danny thinks most things are garbage.
That's true.
The buy-in, if the buy-in is there and it's unique and it is you, because I truly believe that you are the uniqueness. People go all the time, well, how do I stand out? Just be you. There's no
that's
one
really
else
difficult
like you.
for a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's difficult
there's no
for
one
me.
else. Everybody else, I get this question, no joke, at least every other day. I get a phone call from somebody, you know what I mean, that called me and they go, well, how do I stand out? How do I be different? How do I accomplish what you've accomplished? And the answer is you can't be me. No one can be me. I am the only me that exists, right? Except for the 3 little ones in my house, and they all think they're me, right? And so much so, this is no joke. Speaking of branding and shirts and stuff, my children were relentless until they got shirts that matched mine. Like literally, my children all have big man shirts because they were. I thought it would phase out, right? Like eventually, they'll just stop asking
like
for it or
kids
whatever.
tucker out of a lot of stuff. Yeah,
They did not, and they wear them proudly. This is their thing. But my point is I get this call, and you can't be me. I can't be Danny, right? You can't be somebody else. And until you figure that out, and I think branding, along with you said the pajama suit and this kind of stuff, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to have your logo on a shirt to be your brand, right? Your brand can be Danny and I talked about how we have the same doctor, right? And when you see our doctor, I don't care when you see him, it's a Tommy Bahama shirt.
Don't even say it. I can already. Yep, exactly. It's a Hawaiian shirt. I don't know if it's Tommy Bahama, but
it's
he's
always
a doctor.
Tommy Bahama.
So that makes perfect sense because he's a doctor.
You're right.
Alligator boots.
Yes.
Which I don't think a lot of people in Texas wear alligator boots. It's not
no, it's not a thing. That's more of a Louisiana, Florida thing than it is. A Texas
because
thing.
that's because you have ample supply of alligators down there. And I love talking about our doctor because he was my favorite doctor that I've ever had in my entire life.
100%. Great guy. But that's my point.
Yeah.
He's always in Tommy Bahama, blue jeans and boots.
I've never seen him wear a white coat either. I mean, he's got the stethoscope, but never seen him wear a white coat.
But that is his thing every day. And him and I actually got on that conversation one day. That's just one of his things. If he's not wearing that, it's something else is going on, right?
Yeah.
But so I think appearance and branding and all these things go hand in hand, but it has to embrace, as you said, you. And it doesn't have to be a logo, like we just said.
Right.
In his case, it's Tommy Bahama blue jeans and boots. It doesn't have to be a logoed shirt. You don't have to have your personal whatever.
Thing
you
on
can
it.
embrace something that is your look, is your brand, is your marketing, that kind of thing. And make it a big deal. Anyway, we've gotten from pajama suit.
This was our first podcast we've done, and we've only done 3 of these, and this is number 4 so far, where we went off on so many tangents, and it's going to be kind of a mess to make clips out of. So,
it'll be all right.
There had to be one.
And there'll be more in the future. We will get off on tangents. It's part of this show.
There won't be. No, I'll keep you on track.
Eat it.
So,
God, you suck. You suck.
Yeah, so do
You're
you.
Such an idiot. Anyway, is there anything else you would like to talk about today?
Yeah, just one other thing. I just wanted to say that you're an idiot.
You, my friend, are also an idiot, and we will just agree on that.
Thank you.
If there's not anything, folks, we appreciate you. Any complaints you may have, please give them to Danny. I don't want them.
Yep. It's Danny@upyours.com.
I'm going to get that email one day. Can we each have one of those? It's bigman@upyours.com.
I'm afraid to Google that. I have to turn on a VPN before I can even Google if that's available.
I'm curious what ads you would get from Amazon after Googling Up Yours. Anyway, folks, we appreciate you. As always, we enjoy you. We'll see you
I don't
next time.
appreciate any of you. You're all beneath me. So, all right.
Be nice, Danny. We'll see you.
No. Bye.